Would Kylian Mbappe be coming to the Premier League at the end of his current deal with PSG? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yes, the Kylian Mbappe circus is once again rolling into town. Roll up, see the latest chapter of this Kylian Mbappe situation as he is set to once again be the subject of heavy speculation surrounding his future, as we are 6 to 7 months away from his current deal with PSG expiring. Real Madrid still linger in the background, of course. A move to La Liga, a move to the infamous Real Madrid seems to be the more favoured by seemingly Mbappe himself and by other pundits and fans alike. But there is also said to be growing interest from the Premier League and the likes of Arsenal and Liverpool in particular that could turn Mbappe's head should Real Madrid leave negotiations and end their interest in the French superstar. There is also the possibility that maybe there will be another U-turn in the works, and maybe Mbappe may return and may obviously re-sign with PSG going forward. Either way, there's a lot of options available to Mbappe on the table, and it will be interesting to see what happens once again when this current chapter of the Mbappe situation plays out yet again. We're going to be talking about Mbappe. We're going to be talking about his interest from the Premier League, his interest from Real Madrid. We're going to be talking about the article that Duncan Castles writes on this situation as well, which is the main stem from this video. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. And of course, for you lot to get involved in the comment section below. I'm sure you have a lot of interesting thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. That'll make for great and interesting reading down below in that comment section. So do get involved down there. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Let's talk this Kylian Mbappe situation and the interest that he has received from both La Liga and the Premier League. Now, here we are again, a few years down the line from where we last picked up with this Mbappe situation. Real Madrid seemingly holding all the cards in this potential deal. Mbappe was a fan of theirs growing up. They are a massive worldwide global phenomenon within within football. And yes, Mbappe was said all along to favour a move to Real Madrid until, of course, PSG made him an insane offer to keep him at the club a further couple of years. Fast forward through those couple of years and we're here again. Same situation. Mbappe's running down his contract. His contract will be up at the end of the season. He'll be a free agent when his contract does expire. And he has a number of options laid before him on the table. Duncan Castles of the Daily Record writes this Kylian Mbappe article a couple of days, of course, after PSG's 1-1 draw with Newcastle in rather albeit controversial circumstances, of course. He writes the Kylian Mbappe article because he states that with his current contract running down, the speculation is only going to snowball and gather momentum as to where Mbappe's future will lie. Now, it's not completely out of the question for him to re-sign with PSG. He goes on to state in the article that allegedly Mbappe has been very much impressed with, of course, what has happened at PSG this season in terms of the huge change that has happened. He's obviously seen a lot of change at the club this season in terms of new manager coming in and Luis Enrique. He's been impressed with how he's conducted himself and the way that he has changed the squad. He's also seen, obviously, a lot of change happen to squad personnel in terms of big players being offloaded elsewhere. The likes of Sergio Ramos, Neymar, and of course Lionel Messi are no longer with the French club after moving on this past summer. And of course, he's more intrigued by this new look PSG side, which is a bit more performance-based rather than name-based, and is working very hard. Now, of course, he understands the work-in-progress side of things, like as do the club. It's said in the article that both the club and he understand that the first side is a work-in-progress kind of side, and that, of course, the first season under Luis Enrique is going to obviously take time for it to completely bed in and gel together. They understand that. But for Mbappe, it goes on to state that if he wants to get that next level of being a footballer, if he wants his legacy to be truly cemented, it's being said that he will want a Champions League winning side, or a better side with a better chance of winning the Champions League, because he personally sees that as a gateway to obviously winning the Ballon d'Or. Now, of course, this year, in this year's edition of the Ballon d'Or, he finished third. In my personal opinion, a bit too high for him, in my opinion, but I digress. The Ballon d'Or is obviously the noteworthy path of cementing your place in the elite of world football, which is why Lionel Messi's gone on to do it 8 times. Ronaldo's gone on to do it 5 or 6 times, and so on and so forth. Mbappe was seen as one of the next heirs to that Messi-Ronaldo sort of rivalry, and was going to be one to take over it once those two left. And with obviously those two now seemingly out of the picture, Ronaldo in Saudi Arabia, Messi in America, it now leaves the doorway wide open for someone like Mbappe to really step up to the fold. Obviously, he'll have some major competition in the likes of Erling Haaland, for example, but if he is to obviously win the Champions League, it would give him a massive boost in the right direction. Now, the article does go on to claim that both Arsenal and Liverpool are heavily interested in exploring avenues to maybe support this potential deal. Like we say, Real Madrid still linger on in the background, and they are seen as the big favourites to obviously sign him. But should they back out, which has been rumoured to be the case, because let's face it, they still feel a little bit hurt by the way that Mbappe had a seemingly verbal contract with them before performing a U-turn and staying with PSG instead a couple of years ago. So should they feel the need to back out for whatever reason, financially they can't support it maybe, although it is Real Madrid, so that doesn't seem to be the likely case. But if they see elsewhere better options available, or whatever the case may be, to not fully go through with this Mbappe transfer, then that could leave the door open to the likes of the Premier League, to the likes of an Arsenal or a Liverpool to maybe sign him. Now, it won't be cheap. Transfer fee-wise, it probably will be, because he's going to be a free transfer. But let's face it, it's not going to be cheap. The wages he's going to demand, the bonuses he's going to demand, and everything else that comes with Mbappe in terms of his entourage, and in terms of obviously everything that he represents and everything that he will want and the people that he's got around him to make sure he gets the best deal possible, isn't going to be cheap. But I can't lie, the way that the article is written, the way that obviously the player that Mbappe is, and the way that we could see him in the Premier League, does strike me with a level of excitement and a level of intrigue that I personally want to see. Now, of course, I sit here as a Liverpool fan, and I want Liverpool to sign him. Am I going to get ahead of myself and say that Liverpool will sign him? Absolutely not. I've been here before. I've been here before with Erling Haaland. I've been here before with, more recently, of course, Jude Bellingham, in which we have tracked those two players in particular, only to find out we can't sign them for financial reasons. Surprise, surprise, who would have seen that coming? So I'm not going to get too ahead of myself when talking about Liverpool. All I will say on the Liverpool front is it does excite me, it does intrigue me. I would love it to happen, but I don't necessarily think it will, as much as I want it to. The only way that I can potentially see this working is if Mo Salah is going to leave in the summer. That is the only way that I can see Liverpool signing Kylian Mbappe happening, is if we sell Salah to Saudi Arabia, which seems to be the likely scenario, as much as I don't want it to happen. But that seems to be what is seemingly we're getting towards. We sell Salah to Saudi Arabia, and then we bring in Mbappe, and we use the wages that will be freed up from Salah's side of things to obviously free up the space to bring in an Mbappe. That is the only reason I can think of as to why we would possibly be signing him. I'm not going to get, like I said, I'm not going to get too ahead of myself. I've been there before with the likes of Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland. I felt like there was a real possibility and a real chance of us signing them, only to be left disappointed at the end of it, when of course we didn't. and that's more fool on me, but there we go. I digress again. But for Arsenal, a team that obviously has been gunning towards being a major player once again in European football, and especially in England, this would be a massive statement signing. It would be a statement signing by anybody that manages to sign this French superstar. But for Arsenal in particular, a team that's been working towards regaining their position at the top of the tree in England, been doing extremely well under Mikel Arteta these past couple of years, they will obviously need to go from strength to strength. They will obviously need to continue to show signs of intent and progression. And Mbappe certainly could be that guy. Now, they'll obviously have to wait till the summer. They will also need to have the financial capabilities of doing that in terms of supporting his wages and supporting obviously the bonuses and the clauses that he will obviously have within his contract. Could Arsenal do it? It's certainly possible that they could. The only obviously issue is that Arsenal as a football club may need to show Mbappe signs of progression themselves, because whilst it's good to show this upwards trajectory that Arsenal have been on, obviously winning trophies is going to be the next step for both Arsenal and Mbappe. Together, they could certainly achieve that. But then questions will remain. Do they have the right manager? Is the squad good enough? Is this part good enough? Is the interior of the club still good enough? There will be so many questions that I think maybe Mbappe himself might look at and go, you're good, but you're not as good as maybe what I've got elsewhere. And I'm not saying that Liverpool will be that case, but I'm also saying that, you know, there could be a possibility that Madrid are still in the mix. There could be a possibility of, I don't know. I know that Manchester City have like 115 charges against them, but depending on how long that will be before that gets played out, who's to say Man City won't come in for him? There could be a lot more to this story going forward. It seems that Arsenal and Liverpool, according to Duncan Castles, have laid their cards very firmly on the table when it comes to this. Real Madrid still keeping their hand close to their chest, it seems, whilst PSG are said to not be completely concerned by the way that Mbappe is taking his time over deciding his future, but at the same time are just keeping a wary eye of the situation. They're hoping that they can maybe keep him on for another year. Maybe, I don't know what PSG's long-term aim is here. Like, do they keep him on another year and hope they get the best years out of him and then sell him on once he reaches that bit, or even so give him up on a free? I don't know what PSG's entire aim is here. I don't know whether it is to just basically help the squad long term, or whether it is for financial gain. Obviously they're not in much need of financial gain because they are one of the richest clubs in the world, but even so, I don't know if they're playing a shrewd game with this, or whether they are just now backed up into a corner and Mbappe is calling the shots. So it's going to be interesting to see how this entire saga plays out in its latest chapter. But like I say, as much as I would love to see Mbappe in a Liverpool shirt next season, I feel like the only way that will happen is if Liverpool are going to sell Mohamed Salah. And it's another gamble. It's a gamble, even with someone who seems to be as a clear guarantee as what Mbappe is. It's still a gamble because you're having to replace a massive cog in that Liverpool attack. Something that I don't necessarily think can be completely done. But at the same time, Mbappe is an insane player, phenomenal talent, someone who's still just on the cusp of entering his prime years, and someone who I would love to see in the Premier League, someone who I'd love to see grow, someone who I'd love to see evolve, and someone who obviously in this kind of game can challenge from a goal scoring and output level of a Erling Haaland. Obviously those two have been tipped to be the new Ronaldo-Messi sort of rivalry. It would be interesting to see if the Premier League can acquire Mbappe to obviously challenge Erling Haaland and to obviously see them go head to head on a weekly basis. So it will be very interesting to see how that does occur. But of course, we're waiting to see what this next chapter in this Mbappe saga brings. Very interesting article by Duncan Castles. Recommend you read it if you haven't already. Recommend that obviously you look into the situation more. And obviously, these at the end of the day are just thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you think is next for Kylian Mbappe? Do you think it is to re-sign with PSG? Do you think it is to go to Real Madrid, which seems to be the likely case and one that I would particularly put money on if I was putting a bet on the situation? Or would it be a Premier League move? Will it be an incredible, phenomenal Premier League move that could see him move to the likes of Arsenal or Liverpool? I'd love to know what you guys think, what are your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it on this potential topic and transfer story. Would love to read them all down below in the comment section, because I'm sure they'll make for great and interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks for stopping by and listening. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.